Yo, what is up, everybody? Popo here bringing guys a new video, and today I'm going to be bringing guys a set I had in a tournament. Let's go. Welcome, everybody, and today we're going to be talking about a set I had in a tournament back in April. This was right after the Orlando Regional Champion, and actually the player I am facing is Jacob Lintner, who actually got 13th at that regional, which was an amazing result, and so proud of him. He's been working so hard to keep improving, and shout out to him and all my other local buddies that are take part in the North American International Championships that are going on this weekend. If you're not watching those, then you are definitely missing out. Definitely go check those out. But this is a match that we had right at the beginning of Regulation G, so this was really new to the format. Everybody trying a bunch of different stuff. This is the team right here for me. I had Ndidi with Psychic Seed, that 252, 220, and 56 with 29 speed IVs. This is a the Ndidi I'm quote-unquote famous for, that I got second place at Wolf Glick's GS Cup with. This is the only Ndidi I use. No matter the format or whatever, this Ndidi is just so good. So yeah, definitely use this one. Caly-I with Scope Lens. This is a pretty famous team from this time. This was going around on Twitter, so I kind of just wanted to use it and check it out. So there's a lot of 252s in this, but we see Caly-I with Scope Lens, Sharpness, of course, 252 attack. 0 speed with Brave, Psycho Cut, Sacred Sword, Wide Guard, and Leaf Blade. Wide Guard was huge. It still is huge. This team actually has been performing pretty well again, so it's come kind of full circle. We have Torkoal with the Charcoal, Basic, Torkoal, Eruption, Earth Power. I always go for Flamethrower. I know a lot of people do a couple other stuff, including Weather Ball, but I like the prospect of Flamethrower outside of there being Sun. I just feel like it's a more valuable tech, and I enjoy it a lot more. But I have heard some discourse to use Flamethrower. We have Necrozma Dawn Wings, and we have Moongeist Beam, Meteor Beam, Expanding Force, and Trick Room. Kind of basic there. Ursaluna with Flame Orb, 252, Headlong Rush, Facade, Sword Dance, and Protect. Lilligant Hisuian with Focus Sash, Chlorophyll, Ghost Terra, 252, Sleep Powder, Solar Blade after you in close combat. So everything is pretty standard on these Pokemon. So there's no crazy techs going on. So yeah, don't expect any of that. And going for Jacob's team, obviously I don't have the open team or the closed team sheet, the version of it. Lunala with Power Herb. So it's a very similar set, except they do have Wide Guard to my Necrozma. Amoonguss with Rocky Helmet, pretty standard. King Gambit with Assault Vest, which was an interesting tech, I think, at the time, for dealing with something like that Shadow Rider, which I'm surprised King Gambit's not used a little bit more right now, but I know there are a lot of fighting types out there too, so it kind of does balance out a bit. Kowtow, Cleave, Ironhead, Low Kick, and Sucker Punch, especially because Low Kick actually does a ton of damage to Necrozma. Incineroar, of course, Parting Shot, Flare Blitz, Knockoff. This is before people were dropping Flare Blitz. Como with Leftovers, Overcoat, so it can't be put to sleep. Protect, Body Press, Throat Chop, which is a really cool tech in Iron Defense. And we have Landorus with Life Orb, Poison Terror, of course, Protect, Earth Power, Sludge Bomb, and Substitute. So that was a pretty standard set that was going on in the previous regulations. So knowing all that, we're going to go into this. This is one of... So I faced Jacob quite a bit. And Jacob was on a 4-0 streak against me, and they were all close games. We've never had a set that wasn't close, including one where we both were using Mouse Ape, but actually I didn't realize that my Mouse Ape wasn't trained properly. I did not give it bottle cap, so I had a minus defense, or changes nature. I had a minus defense nature with, like, I think it was like 6 IVs in defense, which is pretty terrible. And I still almost won. So that just shows you how close these matchups have been between us. And anyways, yeah, let's get right into this. So I actually forgot to hit record early on in this match, which I do often when I do online things. I always forget to hit record in between matches. And so this is like the 5th or 6th turn. I did deal with his Lunala by hitting with a Moongeist Beam with Helping Hand, I believe. And now he has his Como out there against my 2 here. And I just go for Dazzling Gleam, and I'm able to actually do 50%, over 50%. And what this is going to do, this is actually going to cause him to have to make a play where he either protects to try to get some more healing, or he's going to have to go for that Steel Terra because he needs to get like past this Indeedee that's putting a lot of pressure on one of his big threats that he has remaining. Since the Lunala is gone, this is the primary threat for his team at the moment. So we do see Incineroar coming out, and Incineroar is a pretty good Pokemon for me to see. Just because Necrozma deals with it really well, though we do find out that his Incineroar is actually faster than my Necrozma, which is a pretty big deal. He's putting a lot of pressure on my Indeedee, so I do want to preserve it so I can get it back out later if I do need it for some redirection. Or I can just go for the sacrifice on it, but I do decide to actually go for the switch. And I kind of go for a risky play here that could work out or could be terrible for me. But it's a risk you have to make sometimes. You got to go for like some of these plays where if it works, you're like so far ahead, and if it doesn't, then you might just straight up lose the game. So we do get the switch here, and the reason why I'm going for the switch is because, like I said, he does have to go for that Steel Terra, or he has to knock out my Indeedee, or he's going to go for Protect to get some more healing. So this way I can put a lot of pressure on him with Sacred Sword that no matter what he does, I'm going to be able to damage him and just output some good pressure into both of these Pokemon, especially not being intimidated. And we do see the Protect play here. So my play here makes a lot of sense because I do go for the Meteor Beam, which I am faster. I had said that the Incineroar is faster, which was incorrect. I think we are exactly speed tied, but at this point I'm not really sure. I just assume that I am slower. So, but I actually have no idea here. So, yeah. So I go for the Meteor Beam, and this is just to put a lot of pressure onto the Incineroar slot to make it switch out on the next turn. But he actually goes Parting Shot, which is a really good play. We're still +1 because I did Parting Shot earlier in the match. I think I Parting Shotted into the Lunala to break its shield, so I can go for the Moongeist Beam on the turn after. I believe that's what I did. I could be wrong because this was a little while ago. I just hadn't been able to make videos because they were doing that construction on my house. So here, Gallade is not really providing me much. I could go for a knockout onto this this Amoonguss, which might have been the better play, but I also can't afford to lose my boy here. And he actually goes for the Spore, so yeah, I'm just... Oh, that's what it is. Trick Room is up. I forgot. My apologies. Trick Room is up. That's why the Incineroar was slower, because I do know the Incineroar is faster. But yeah, he's gonna buff up some more. We did miss the Meteor Beam into that Amoonguss, which is very, very unfortunate. And those Trick Room is going to reset itself, and the terrain is going to go away, which isn't the hugest of the deals. But now I have a sleeping Indeedee, and I have this Necrozma that's most likely going to get KO'd this turn. And I can't really afford to switch, because if I switch, then there's a possibility that I just straight up lose my Gallade, which I can't afford to lose my Gallade at the moment. I need it for the end game, because without it, I'm unable to deal with this Como, especially if it goes for that Terrestrialization, which is very, very likely that it will do. As Jacob does not have any other targets that are really needing to Terrestrialize. He could go for the Amoonguss, I guess, but I don't know. Ghost doesn't really do too much for him, so he does go into the Steel Terror here. And this is probably just in case somehow I'm able to get off this Expanding Force. Maybe he thinks the Body Press might not kill, but it does. Of course, we have no defense investment here, and we do go down. I think Water Terror might have been a mistake for me, but at the same time, I kind of needed to go for it. And we do see the Pollen Puff go into the Como, and now it's looking very sketchy for me, right? Because he has a full Como, he has a full Amoonguss, and we have a Sleeping Indeedee, and now we have a Gallade coming out here. So I'm just going to go for Trick Room and go for Psycho Cut into the Amoonguss. I'm assuming this is going to kill, but I am also worried that they might be going for a switch into the Incineroar. Though, if they are able to protect and go for the Spore into my Gallade, then they will be way ahead if I went for that play. So there are two routes that could really be beneficial to them. So they actually do go for that one. And I do pick up the knockout on the Amoonguss. Of course, this is Scope Lens, so we do have a higher chance to crit, though I don't think crit actually mattered. And we are going to get, we do not get hurt from, I guess Psycho Cut doesn't actually make contact, because we don't get hurt by the Rocky Helmet there. We see the Incineroar coming out, so now we know that we can be faked out here. And since the terrain is gone, then, you know, it's just rough. So our play here is to switch. We once again, Gallade needs to be alive. We can't take any unnecessary damage with Gallade. And here it looks like I'm going to go for this play, but I'm like, no, there's no way he doesn't fake out Gallade and go for the knockout onto it as well. So what I need to do is actually need to wake up, go for the Follow Me, and get the Torkoal in. Because Torkoal is another way I have to deal with this Como, but it can also deal with the Incineroar if I don't take a ton of damage, because we do have that Earth Power. The Incineroar is already damaged, I believe, so it's already taken some, but we do wake up with the Indeedee, and we are able to get that that Follow Me off here. The Body Press goes into that slot, doesn't really matter. It would have knocked out no matter what, so that is perfectly fine. And now we can get the Gallade in, and Gallade is once again fully ready to go. Boy is full life. Actually, Incineroar is also full life. My bad, I thought he wasn't. And also it gets rid of our Intimidate. And now we can just go Flamethrower, because obviously it's the safest choice. Once again, I like Flamethrower because of this. Also has a chance to burn, which Weather Ball doesn't, though it's 5 base power stronger. I don't think it's worth it, but we actually live pretty well from that Body Press, and we actually live this, and I did the calc, and it's exactly a 50-50. So there was a 50% chance I live that and a 50% chance I get knocked out. We do get the 50-50. We do get the knockout on the Incineroar, and now it's just over because he doesn't have any spread moves and he can't hit both of my Pokemon, but we go for the Flamethrower, and it is enough. So we do take game 1, and I was feeling pretty good after this, despite some of the plays weren't really ideal, and we kind of got ourselves into a pretty bad position that we shouldn't really have been in. But the next game, I'm going to go with Lilligant Torkoal, because I feel like they're going to try to come in and counter the Necrozma stuff at the beginning. So I'm expecting them to go for, you know, like that King Gambit, or go for the Amoonguss early, so that way they can take advantage that way. Yeah, this has been kind of a problem for me using the team, is whenever I bring Lilligant and Torkoal, I just feel like I'm just worse off. I just kind of feel, and I've played Lilligant Torkoal in the past, and something I have done well with, but yeah, on this team, for some reason, every time I bring it, I just feel like I'm like, this team just feels bad every single time without fail. So I lock in pretty quickly because I know I want to go with this if I can take advantage, and I'm the game up. If I wasn't the game up, I would just, you know, play a little bit safer. But since I'm a game up, I'm gonna try to go for some stuff here. We see the Incineroar plus the Lunala, which isn't really what I wanted to see. So I'm a little bit disappointed already going into this turn. Of course, we get that Drought up. Now, I was thinking after this that maybe you go Covert Cloak onto Lilligant so you don't have to waste your Terra, because I feel like Necrozma's Terra is way more important. Way more important. So I'm going to actually switch Torkoal out here because I'm scared of the Meteor Beam. I don't want to get hit by that, but I think in hindsight, that going for Sleep Powder plus Eruption was probably the play, no matter what. I just think it's really strong. He has to fake out Torque Hole, and we always get the Sleep Powder off, though we could miss the Sleep Powder. And then in that case, we kind of just lose anyways. But going for the Sleep Powder and the Eruption gives us a ton of damage and allows us to make some better plays going on to the turn after, which we can then after you and do some work that way. But we go out to the Necrozma. And my thought process here, too, is that I can go after you Trick Room if I need to. So that way I can start taking advantage of Necrozma and stuff like that. But we do see the Fake Out, which does go into the Lilligant when we see the Sleep Powder, which we do take advantage of. And here I'm like, okay, we're in a pretty good place. I just need to play this properly, and that's where I stop doing everything properly. And by that I mean going close combat here and Meteor Beam is just the wrong play. After you Meteor Beam is definitely the play. No matter how you look at it, it's definitely the play. It always gets rid of this Incineroar, and if he does switch, then I'm going to do a lot of damage to the Pokemon that switches in. And if he goes for Parting Shot, then we just get a knockout onto the Incineroar. But yeah, he doesn't switch the Incineroar, and yeah, the after you Meteor Beam was definitely the play. But Lunala actually wakes up, so it's just the one-turn sleep was pretty brutal. And is able to do a ton to the Lilligant. And we already know this Incineroar is faster. Like I said the last time, I was messed up because I forgot that Trick Room was up. I wasn't thinking about that. But yeah, is able to get Parting Shot off. Now, he wouldn't have been able to get this Parting Shot off if I just went after you. If I just went after you straight into the Meteor Beam, we would have knocked out Incineroar. And we would have been in actually a very good place going into this Amoonguss coming out too. Because now we're pressuring it with a +1 Expanding Force, which is single target, so he's not able to wide guard. And yeah, we would have been much better off. Because we could have gone for the Sleep Powder, which we can't actually go for the Sleep Powder because of the fact that now we're Ghost Terra, that we get redirected by the Rage Powder. So I put myself in a lot of bad positions in this game that I definitely did not need to be in. And yeah, I literally cannot blame anybody else besides myself. Here, I probably need to just switch, right? I need to not lose Lilligant. I think losing Lilligant just loses me the game, so yeah, but it's such a hard position here that I just really get locked into some of the wrong things that I don't need to be locking myself into. And yeah, we go for the Sleep Powder just in case they make a mistake, because now we're so far behind that we really need to start on the comeback. And this Lunala is gonna one-shot my Necrozma, of course, because we don't have that same ability. Having the damage of the first attack, so it does a lot more. Yeah, and basically here I'm like, yeah, it's pretty much over. I can't really do too much. I think the play here is actually just after you plus Eruption. It is a riskier play, but it does stop Spore. And it forces them to have to go with the Rage Powder, which if they don't, then they just kind of lose. But yeah, it just goes to Rage Powder, making the right call anyways. And this sets up for a nice Meteor Beam into that Torque Hole. I'll go for the Solar Blade, of course, which I'm a big fan of Solar Blade, though it's not very good against Pelipper. And it does absolutely nothing. And we actually get knocked out by the Rocky Helmet because we do make direct contact there. And yeah, down goes Lilligant. Now it's just down to my Torque Hole, and yeah, it's not looking good. If this is a miss, I do have a chance at actually winning, which is crazy considering the situation and everything here. But I do have a small chance of winning still, but it does not miss. Does not, but I think I still lose because Fake Out into my Glade plus, you know, going for Moongeist Beam, it just kind of just kind of wins the game, I think. But yeah, so we go out with the Glade, and I'm just gonna go for the run. There's no reason to continue playing. I know what I need to do. I just need to go back to the basics and just play well, because Jacob is such a good player that it's really hard to play like that against Jacob, where I'm trying to switch it up completely. So I'm just gonna go back to the basics. He has no way to switch to terrain, so let's take advantage of that. He doesn't have any spread moves that are gonna be super strong against us, so we can take advantage of that by using that redirection. And then we can take advantage of his weakness to fighting, which he has. He actually has what, 3 Pokemon that are already, no, 4 Pokemon actually that are weak to Glade right out the get-go, and then if he does Terra, he has a couple more weaknesses, so we could try to take advantage of that as well. Here, I think he is going to go with the Landorus. Like, that's what I'm expecting right now, is going to be like Landorus plus the Incineroar. And it's kind of what I don't want to see, because then they can get rid of, you know, some of my pressure early on and put on their own pressure. But at the same time, like, does he really go Landorus? Because if he goes Landorus and I get Trick Room up, it might just be over from that point on. So I don't think that they're actually going to go for it, and they don't. They go the same exact setup that they went before. So we're going to have this Incineroar here, which I'm not very scared of, honestly. Not scared of it at all. I know I can redirect its attack. It's not going to do a ton of damage. And the Intimidate actually just does nothing, so we are good there. We are going to go for the Follow Me. But I'm trying to decide what I want to do with my other Pokemon. Do I just go out for the Meteor Beam? And I do decide to just go out for Meteor Beam here. And yeah, we see the Indeedee go for that Follow Me, and we see Meteor Beam coming out from Lunala, so I probably didn't really need to go for the Follow Me, though it's okay. And I'm expecting this Meteor Beam to actually do a lot of damage, but I forgot Lunala's actually a lot weaker than our friend Necrozma here. And we see the Parting Shot, so I was like, okay, good thing I did go for that. That is perfectly fine. I'm happy with the situation. We can now take advantage of this a little bit more. And yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to get this Meteor Beam off into whatever they switch into, which I was very surprised to see what the Pokemon was. And it's actually that King Gambit. Hadn't brought it the other games, was really trying to surprise me with it, but actually seeing it, I was really happy, because my 2 Pokemon in the back just deal with this Pokemon single-handedly. And it's a Fairy Terra, which doesn't really help it too much. Maybe against a fighting attack, but definitely doesn't help it against an Eruption or a Flamethrower to the point where it would be that significant. That Meteor Beam, by the way, is into an Assault Vest resist, and that still did a ton of damage. So now we can go for the Follow Me and go for the Trick Room. I know that this Lunala cannot knock out my Indeedee, because it only has Meteor Beam and it only has Moongeist Beam, so it can't actually pressure into it at all, meaning it has to double attack here just to get pressure into it. So I have a free Trick Room set up on this turn. If Indeedee does go down, then I am in a great position, because then I can bring in my Glade, or I can bring in that that Torkoal and just put a lot of pressure onto both of these Pokemon that really cannot damage them. So he goes back out into Incineroar, however, so I'm perfectly fine with this, like, no biggie at all. I'm like, that's fine. And we are just going to go for the Follow Me, which we hit into a good old Moongeist Beam, which we're going to eat up because it cannot hit Indeedee, which is fantastic. We go for that Trick Room, and now we are in a pretty good position. We are slower than both of their Pokemon. We already know that. And here, I'm not really sure what to do. I don't know why I considered the Grass Terra there, but Grass Terra definitely wasn't the play. And my other play here is to just go for the Follow Me plus the Moongeist Beam, but instead I actually decide to just go for Dazzling Gleam Moongeist Beam. I don't know why I went for the Dazzling Gleam, but you know, sometimes you just make a call and you're just feeling it, you know, so you just do it. But I don't know why I had considered going for that Grass Terra, maybe to survive the knockoff plus a Moongeist, well, I wouldn't get hit by Moongeist Beam otherwise anyways. But we do see a Terra here, and I'm thinking, okay, is this going to be the Incineroar? But no, it's actually the Lunala going into that Fairy type, which doesn't really give it too much into my position. So what I'm thinking here is that, okay, they Moongeist Beam into me, and they want to make sure that they survive. But we'll get a bunch of damage off here, and then we'll be able to bring out our better Pokemon. But we do actually pretty good damage, and we see a Flare Blitz going to the Indeedee, which we survive okay. And that recoil is going to do some damage. We do get the Dazzling Gleam off. We almost put Lunala at half, but Lunala actually just switches the Trick Room. And we know that the Lunala is faster than their Incineroar. So now he still can't pressure us. He still cannot pressure our Necrozma here. So what we could do is, what I considered at first was actually going for the Helping Hand. But I'm not pressured. Once again, I have no pressure on me because I have this Water Terra that is going to really negate a lot of the damage that's going to be done. And I can just really pressure with a Trick Room, meaning that they have to deal with Indeedee. And even if they do knock out the Necrozma here, I'm going to be able to take advantage of it with the Gallade and the Torkoal in the back. So that's the play I'm going to go for. And with how much that damage did the first time to Lunala, and that's halved, I know this is going to be a knockout because it did almost half the first time. So that means it's going to do over 50% this time. So yeah, we just go for that Terra. And I'm feeling good here. I'm feeling good. And I just go for that Follow Me. And this was an interesting play because I think that they went for Trick Room. Actually, I know that they went for Trick Room because I see the Incin going first. So if I would have just attacked into Incin here and let them get the Trick Room up, I just win. It's kind of crazy. And yeah, so I just get that into there, get the critical hit. The critical hit doesn't matter. Once again, since it did 50% less going into it, it's more than enough. So yeah, now Lunala's down, but there is no Trick Room up. But I'm going to go right out for Gallade because I know it pressures all three of their Pokemon. I know Amoonguss is in the back because Amoonguss has been the best Pokemon that they had. So I know it's going to be sitting in the back. But yeah, and I know they have the Kingambit, and I know they have the Incin, and they really cannot pressure any of these Pokemon here. And I pressure both of their Pokemon. So I know I can just go into this Incineroar and just be perfectly okay and just be happy. And I'm not feeling scared at all. I think his best move, it's probably still Kowtow Cleave, but I just don't think he has a way to deal with this. He has to double up into Gallade, which I feel is very, very unlikely. So I just go for the Sacred Sword into the Incineroar. Because I think Incineroar is actually going to switch, and I go for Moongeist Beam into there too. But we actually see Kingambit, and I was like, ah, man, I picked the wrong one to switch, but this should still be okay. Because I still have a lot of pressure on it next turn, so this should be fine. But he actually goes Parting Shot. And I'm like, wait, hold on. And he goes into the Gallade, which is perfect. Absolutely perfect. And he's going to go for the switch in, obviously, back into Kingambit. And Kingambit, it doesn't matter if I'm -1. This Kingambit is done. It doesn't matter. But Kingambit goes down, and now I'm in a very good position because I go for the Moongeist Beam. And I'm going to be able to do a ton of damage to this Amoonguss. It now has no pressure. It can't switch out. It really cannot do anything. One more hit by anything, and it's going to be knocked out. Goes back out with the Incineroar, which is going to intimidate us. But remember, we do have that Scope Lens, so we're actually going to be able to crit more often. So I'm still pressuring with all these crits. Here, this play makes sense, but at the same time, yeah, this play makes sense because I was worried about the Fake Out Spore. Fake Out Spore is a pretty potent play into us at the moment. If we don't double up into the Amoonguss, let's say. But we do see the Protect, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I know he cannot knock out either of my Pokemon, and we know this because in the Sun, we survived this. And a burn wouldn't really matter that much because we are still able to knock out this Amoonguss no matter what. And the Amoonguss, since it is slower, because he did not get up that second Trick Room, is very helpful. Though I think that Trick Room was to change to like reverse the Trick Room that they thought I was going for. So yeah, now here I'm just gonna go Sacred Sword, and I can just go Moongeist Beam, and this is gonna allow me to force them to go into the Flare Blitz into that slot, or take a hit. And the Amoonguss misses the double protect, which I don't think really matters, because once again, he has no pressure on this Necrozma right now. Necrozma is just like, I can just sit here all day long and just chill with the boys. And Incineroar is under half health, and 2 Moongeist Beam at this range would be enough, but I can just go for Meteor Beam as well if I really wanted to. I have no item, so Knockoff's not going to do a ton of damage. Necrozma's pretty bulky. So that puts me in a really good position. Now I could just go for the Torkoal. And yeah, we are able to actually take the victory, and it felt really good. Honestly, it felt really, really good. I've beaten Jacob the last 2 times we've played. I beat him with that team that you guys, some of you guys might have seen. I go for Trick Room here because it's just a safer play. And yeah, we are able to take that victory. I beat him with a variation of that team I was using with Oranguru. I did so well at that tournament. Like, it was crazy. Nobody was ready for me giving Assault Vest to a booster energy Iron Hand, so that was cool. But anyways, guys, that was the video. I hope you guys enjoyed these battles. Once again, this was a player who had just gotten, like, 4 days before top 13. They got 13th place. I meant top 16. They got 13th place at the Orlando Regional Championships, and that's really cool. And it felt really good to win this match. After this match, don't worry what happened. I lost the next 2 because I feel like this team doesn't really have a great matchup into Terrapagos, or however you say his name. So I didn't have the matchup like into that set, and I faced 2 of them in a row. I had the highest opponent win percentage out of this whole tournament by a ton, and one of my opponents went 0-2 and dropped, like my first round opponent, and all my other opponents went 4-0, 3-1, 3-1. So, you know, what can you do? Sometimes you just run into the gas and you just don't got enough of it. So anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, make sure you guys thumbs it up. If you're not subscribed, make sure you do so, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.